I start all my seeds down in my basement in a closet and made specifically for starting plants. I got a squeaky hinge. So there's just a bunch of shelves in here. The cabinet or the closet's about 6 foot wide. And maybe a little over 4 foot in width. Most of the heat comes from the fluorescents. I do have a little electric heater down here on the floor. And once I get all the lights fired up, I usually don't have to run the heater. It's just warm enough it won't come on. And then I have it's a remote thermometer sensor. So I use saran wrap over my plants, hold that moisture in until they sprout. Once they're up, that can come off. So eggplant, Carolina gold tomatoes, Romas. And you know, when you got enough light, if those seedlings, when that leaf unfolds and turns green and they stop shooting up, you know you got enough light. If you don't, your plants are going to be 2-3 inches tall and wimpy and falling over. And that's how I start on my seeds. And then once they look like this, they'll go upstairs. So once they leave the closet in the basement, they come upstairs in our solarium, greenhouse, lots of glass. There's some big beef and they're just a little over finger tall. Width of my finger tall. And that's what you want a short plant. There's some early lettuce. This is the next batch of lettuce. There's some Margaret's Cosmos. And these are what the peppers look like at 40 days. They're about 6 inches tall. So are the eggplant. Lots of peppers. And you notice they're in these cups. I have morning glories that sneak out of the hole when you poke a hole in the plastic. And I cut the bottom out of these cups and I set them in a half full 6-pack. The 6-pack keeps them standing up nice and straight. The roots go out through the bottom of the cup, which is missing, and fill that root ball. It's soil ball. So when I transplant them, they'll go right through the round hole I melt in the plastic and fit tightly. And that root ball below the cup ensures it gets moisture out of the ground. If you just grew them in a cup without a bottom in it, sitting on the flat, say, when you transplanted those out into the field, I just broke these off. This is what you would have. No roots out the cup. So in order to really get that wet, you must have to water the cup. But by growing that soil ball on the bottom, now I can just transplant them right into the ground and turn the drip on and they'll get a drink and never slow up. So that round hole is in the plastic now. This cup fills it up and the soil is sterile. There shouldn't be any weeds sprout in that potting soil. And that keeps weeds and morning glories especially, which will find their way out that hole. If you just poke a 2-inch hole in the plastic and plant the plant, then you've got a 2-inch hole. All the weeds can come out. But these peppers just come out of the sprouting closet yesterday. And everything's looking good. There's some basil coming up. Some kale didn't come up very good. And then more peppers. These are red bells. Looking good for, what's the day, 27th? And this is the way I sprout, easy to sprout stuff like cosmos and zinnias and beets and onions. I'll just lay those flats out on this table, cover them with plastic until they sprout, and then they go right on the lights. Gotta watch them every day. And I've had them stacked 4 high on that table before. Of 36 flats of onions I sprouted that way. Worked great. But this is a good start to 2025. Happy gardening.